History has known monsters born from myth, but few were made from flesh and blood. In the ashes of a broken nation, one man promised salvation and delivered catastrophe. This is the story of Adolf Hitler, the rise and fall of a dictator whose darkness consumed millions, and himself. He was born in 1889 in Braunau am Inn, Austria, a quiet town that could never predict the storm its son would bring. Hitler's youth was marked by failure and frustration. A rejected art student wandering Vienna's streets, surviving on pride and resentment. When Germany lost the First World War, many Germans felt betrayed, humiliated, and desperate. Amid the ruins, Hitler found purpose, and a voice that could turn anger into fire. In dim beer halls, he spoke to small crowds. His words were sharp, emotional, almost hypnotic. He blamed enemies, outsiders, and anyone he could twist into a symbol of Germany's pain. People listened, and worse, they believed. By 1923, Hitler tried to seize power with a failed coup, the beer hall putsch. He was arrested, but prison became his podium. Inside, he wrote his manifesto, a book outlining a future built on hate and absolute control. When he walked free, he wasn't a criminal anymore. To many, he was a prophet. The Great Depression shattered Germany once again. Jobs vanished, savings evaporated, and fear returned. In that chaos, Hitler promised strength, unity, and revival. The people were tired of uncertainty, and so in 1933 they handed him power. Once chancellor, he wasted no time dismantling democracy. Political rivals disappeared, newspapers went silent, and through propaganda, fear, and spectacle, he reshaped an entire nation's reality. Children were taught to adore him, neighbors were taught to suspect one another, and the swastika became the new sun in Germany's sky. Hitler's Germany was a machine, efficient, ruthless, and obedient. He rebuilt the army, broke treaties, and consumed territories one by one. The world watched, uncertain whether to fear or to reason with him. But reason cannot reach a man who sees war as destiny. In 1939, the storm broke. The invasion of Poland ignited the Second World War, and with it, a reign of horror unlike any before. Behind the front lines, the regime built camps, prisons of death and cruelty, erasing millions in silence and smoke. Though we will not dwell on their suffering here, we must never forget the shadows it cast. Entire generations were marked by what was done in the name of one man's twisted vision. As the years passed, the empire he built began to rot from within. His armies, stretched too far, began to lose ground. Allies turned to enemies, and his once fanatical generals whispered doubts behind closed doors. By 1944, the walls were closing in. Bombs rained on Berlin. The world that had once bowed to him was collapsing into dust. And in the spring of 1945, trapped in a bunker beneath the ruined city, Adolf Hitler faced the truth he could never accept, that his 1,000-year dream had lasted barely 12. He chose to vanish rather than face justice, and as the city burned above, so ended his life, and the nightmare he unleashed. When the smoke cleared, millions were gone. A continent lay scarred, both in body and in soul. Hitler's empire had promised order, but left only chaos. His words had promised greatness, but delivered grief. Yet even in that horror, humanity found a lesson carved in fire, that evil does not always arrive wearing a mask or bearing claws. Sometimes it speaks softly and asks only for your faith. Adolf Hitler's rise was the world's darkest cautionary tale, a reminder that tyranny begins with fear and grows with silence. The true horror of his story isn't just what he did, but how easily it all began.